Hey YouTubers, I know I've been on a hiatus lately, had a lot of things going on, and well, frankly, the weather has not been optimal to do any work. Today is just another oil change, nothing major, just kind of wanted to give a few tidbits, kind of an update, kind of clean the engine up, some LA's awesome cleaner, toothbrush, definitely made things better. The issue I'll be showing how to replace very soon is right now my serpentine belt, you can see it's kind of chewed up. I'm just running it as is because if you come over here, if you notice right here on this bolt, let me get it over here where you can actually see. Right there you can actually see a little bit of movement where this has shifted backwards a tad. And if you notice the path of the belt, you have, a groove missing here where it's physically cut that side of the belt off. It follows the same path all the way around except for down here, and if you notice, this side of the belt right here is actually right up against that pulley. So there's where my problem is. I'll be showing how to remove that smog pump. Part number for a pulley replacement. For this part of the video is just, you're going to need to turn your key forward into the on position so you can get your mileage. And for that, you'll just need your oil filter, in this case, trusty old FL1A, and a permanent marker. Just put the date and the mileage that your truck's sitting at, so that way you have a reference point. And I like to put the type of oil I put in it also, that way in case I forget. I'll show that in a second. Alrighty, basically just write the name of your oil, what weight you have, your date, and what mileage. I like to write it in two different places, that way in case one place gets smeared off or whatever. From there you just go ahead and turn your truck back off, and then we start with the actual replacement process. Here's the filter I use, Motorcraft FL-1A. Fits a lot of different engines, actually fits a lot of Mopar engines also, so you might want to cross-reference that if you need to. This particular filter used to be $2.67 a filter at Walmart. I picked one up yesterday and it was $3.97. Definitely has jumped up for whatever reason, even though it's made by the same exact place that makes Wicks and the CarQuest filters and stuff like that. For whatever reason, it just wasn't worth the extra money to stop somewhere else, get a different filter. Again, using partial synthetic 530 weight Mobil Super 5000 oil, 6 quarts for the 4.9 liter engine. You also, personal preference, but seen a lot of quick lube places that does oil changes. They just want to stick a filter on dry, let the engine run more or less dry for the first 3 seconds of the next startup after they change it, because all of the oil's in the pan, and then you get that first 3 seconds or so that the oil pump's trying to prime everything back up, and I don't like the idea. Even on your box right here, it will tell you pre-fill your filter about halfway, something like that. That way it's got something in the filter to start off with. As always, use fresh oil, lube the ring, and make sure that the ring comes off the engine block itself too, because if you get the little O-ring not come off, you put the new filter on, it'll leak oil like crazy, and if you don't catch it fast enough, it'll lock the engine up on you. Just a side note, I wanted to expand on that. These Motorcraft filters actually have a very thick O-ring, or gasket rather. O-rings are actually round, donut-shaped. Gaskets are flat. But the only thing that holds this ring on is just the virtue of these little tabs right here that's pressed in. I've seen some of them. Fram, actually, if I'm not mistaken, is glued in, even though I hate Fram filters. But these simply press into place, and then that's it. Which doesn't matter, because once you screw it on, it's not going anywhere. But just a side note, in case you bump it or something, don't worry, it just pops right back in place. But just basically fill in the center, just like so. It's okay if you dribble a little bit extra, that's not a problem. Put about a half a quart in because these filters actually go in horizontal. So just fill it up till it does that. You've already did enough. From there, just drop your oil, pull the filter off, drain the oil, put the drain plug back in, put the filter on, good to go. Just another side note, if you see oil coming from your drain plug right there, it means that the plug or the pan one is stripped. You don't have to have a ton of pressure on it to tighten it up, just very snug. If it is leaking, replace the plug. If it's stripped, you're either going to have to pull the plug out, cut new threads into the oil pan, and put a bigger plug in, or replace both plug and pan. Just a tidbit. It's getting a little bit of oil. I think my rear main seal is leaking. It's coming off my transmission right in the front. In all honesty, I don't see any noticeable oil loss, so I couldn't tell you honestly where that's coming from. I'll investigate a little more. But yeah, just basically pay attention to your engine. That's the life of your vehicle right there. All the engine oil has been replaced, new filters in place. Just a good time if you've got an extra 5 minutes. Check your coolant. Mine's full. Also buy the $1.99 tester and make sure it's up to snuff for cold weather. Each ball designates a different temperature. It's self-explanatory on the packaging, but I highly recommend it just to be able to check once in a while, make sure your antifreeze is actually doing the job it's supposed to. Check your connections on your battery. Check your washer fluid reservoir, overflow reservoir for your coolant, and check your power steering pump fluid, brake fluid, master cylinder fluid. Also, side note, you see I've replaced the idle air control valve. It definitely idles a lot better. It was idling somewhere in the ballpark of 1,000 RPMs before, and now it's idling somewhere around 800, which 700 to 800 is normal for inline six. That's pretty much it for the.
Start the engine, check your filters for leaks.
Yes, good point right there. Also, mine, you'll see it's kind of a different design when it comes to how it's held on, because all these weird little bolts that Ford used stripped out, so I just used regular nuts, washers, and bolts. And as always, before you just take off down the road, start the engine, look around your filter. If you feel like it, get under, check your drain plug again just to make sure. That way you ensure there's no leaks. But that pretty much wraps up the video for this oil change. Just wanted to share a few tips and reminders, and that'll be all.